The jewels are in the hands of the goddess of liberty. We're talking Lupin III, Part 2. Hit it. It was 1977. Star Wars was in theaters. Motorhead released their eponymous first album, and Lupin III pulled some cool Christmas heists. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s, late 70s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the late 70s, we got it covered. Now, joining me is a Totally Rad Christmas All-Star and Ratty winner. You'll know him from Conversations with Robbie Sherman, Freak Out Freakazoid Rewatch Pod, and Sherman Sucks at Sonic. It's Robbie Sherman. Robbie, how's it going?
Going good. Yeah. I'm looking forward to talking some Lupin the Third. I mean, I don't think these are bad episodes. They're just kind of a little middling in the overall scope of the series, which can have a lot of very intense highs and very intense, interesting ideas going along with it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into this with you, friend.
Right on, right on. Well, before we do that, just like Carol Kane did to Bill Murray and Scrooged, I want you to hit me with the toaster. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Just hit me with the first thing that comes to the top of your head, okay? You don't have to think too hard about it. So let's say that you're making a live action Lupin the Third. Who would you cast as Lupin?
You know what? Okay. I don't know why. I kind of thought maybe you were going to do this anyways, but maybe, how are we casting this? Are we casting this for Hollywood, or are we casting this for international markets?
However you want to do it.
Okay. If we're casting this for a Hollywood adaptation, maybe Paul Rudd could do that. Maybe Paul Rudd has the just right amount of dry wit, and slapshot charm. He's handsome, but he's also he's a little monkey boy too, something about it,
true.
Yeah, I think Paul Rudd could do that pretty well. I don't know who else. I really, but I don't know. That seems like a good idea for me.
I like that one. I like that. And I think that would work internationally as well. I mean, he was an Ant-Man, so people know him as well. So
yeah, I mean, he's already an action star, so it's not too far of a leap. He's got the comedy down pat.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to give him a good script, though. You can't let him improvise too much. That's not his strong suit. I can tell in movies when you're improvising, Paul.
For sure. All right. What would you title a Hallmark movie? Like one of those cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies starring Lupin and Fujiko.
Okay. Boy, I'm not a terribly big fan of these Hallmark Christmas movies, so I'm not sure what the angle is. Maybe if we're going for a sincerity, I'll be smashed for Christmas or something like that. Our second episode, I don't know which ones we're doing first, but one of these episodes, it's very much about wine. And, and the whole heist revolves around wine. So most of the characters are drunk throughout it on a certain level.
And I love how Goemon in particular is well, it's not sake. And there's a whole running gag about that. We'll get into it. Now, yeah, I know what you mean. I was trying to think of it and I was I don't know, maybe Steal My Heart for Christmas or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe we could do something this year for Christmas, get her a gentleman thief. Maybe that would work.
I like that too. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. All right. And finally, Inspector Gadget, he always foiled the villain's plot, and Lupin almost always got away with the heist. Who would win if their paths crossed? If he was trying to stop him.
Oh, dear Lord, Lupin is so much more competent than Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget is one of those characters that falls into a win every
Yeah.
time. Like
Yeah,
he's
with lots of
not
help from Penny and the brain, right?
yeah. I mean, he is confident, but he's not confident in the right ways. And you gotta have Penny in the brain there, making sure things are a little more even-handed. Yeah.
All right, I like that.
Did
Well,
you did you know that Lupin is the offspring? Okay, did you know that Inspector Gadget is the offspring of a Lupin III adaptation that never got finished?
I did not know that.
Okay,
No.
I was wondering if that's why you brought it up because Inspector Gadget is made out of a like failed attempt of creating a Lupin in the future in space pilot for European and American markets. And you can find the unfinished pilot, like they have it all animated because in the anime industry, a lot of the time, they just go ahead and do animation before voiceover.
Right,
So
right.
they have this whole episode animated out that you can watch with subtitles if you look around on the internet. It used to be on the Internet Archive. Just incredibly beautiful looking thing. Just gorgeous, like lives up to the name of Lupin. I love it. It's about his grandson on the space station policing rich people. I don't know exactly if that could like sustain a whole season, but I'd still watch it a lot.
So
Beautiful
would he
stuff.
be Lupin the fifth
I I
if it's
think
his
maybe that
grandson?
I think it's Lupin the sixth at that point. I
Okay,
think
so
yeah,
wow. All
it's a
right.
little bit in the future. Yeah.
Right on. Well, that's just a way for our listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So thank you for that. Now, as you mentioned tonight, we're here to talk about Lupin the Third, specifically part two. What do you remember? Like, what's your history or experience with it?
I've said this before on other stuff, but part two is kind of my first taste of Lupin, of what
Hmm.
like Lupin might be, what the scope of Lupin might be, because it was the one that showed up on Adult Swim, and this was
Right.
they brought this on before they brought on, I think it was part four, part five, because those became like a big special release for Adult Swim. I think Adult Swim might even be part of the funding of part five, so don't quote me on that. But anyways, big big thing for Adult Swim in a certain way, though. When they were running the part two reruns, they didn't exactly do that great because I think they were just a little too old compared to everything around them. And I think they
Right.
feel just a tad bit creaky, even though they're still great 70s anime, television animation. Yeah,
I mean,
I like
you,
Tony Oliver too is my Lupin. He was the
yeah.
first guy I heard as Lupin. It's like, oh yeah, that is the voice. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, we'll be talking about him a little bit later as well. But it does feel a little bit like animation wise, it does feel a little bit like wacky races. You know what I mean? Like it's still got a little bit of that kind of super over the top cartoony edge where a lot of the anime, especially in the 80s later on and 90s, they started really getting detailed and
Oh
but
yeah.
this the figures, the forms, everything about it was still a little more like almost Hanna-Barbera in its style, just as far as design goes. And I think that's just 70s and 60s and 70s in
I
general, but you know, it
yeah. It's a good point though. I think we should also like point out how incredibly detailed the backgrounds and
the
like some of the
backgrounds.
animation can be. Like
Yeah.
this is a step up from Wacky Races and
Oh, big
stuff like
time.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's a certain realism to this, a lived-in quality that shows that you're in the real world that feels really good. And I think that's part of the reason why I started to latch it on to Lupin over the last 5, 6 years, seven maybe. I
Yeah.
think that's when I really started getting into it. We started getting stuff popping up on Tubi and Pluto as well, so that helped facilitate the Lupin urges. I've discovered I do like sweet Lupin though, and part two does fall in the sweeter camp for Lupin. He's a little more charming. He's not the full on deadly Casanova of part one.
Yes, and I was looking at that. It really is apparently in the manga. He's very because this is based on a
Oh,
manga. He's much more brutal. He's definitely like he leads almost like an underworld. He's almost like a mob lord. It's really
Oh
interesting,
man,
and then you
it's
see this and they kind of changed his characterizations to soften him up. And he
yeah.
really is more of a gentleman thief now, which I actually kind of like.
Yeah, it's the 70s and
Right,
we're still doing some eye candy stuff in all this, which isn't hurtful, I don't think, but I also think becomes a little odious if we're doing it too much. There's a couple of times where I thought they could have just cut gags and we could have moved along with
right.
our plot. Though I still think there are funny gags couched in there. Like I think Lupin is a good enough like gag machine that you get as many hits as you do misses.
Right. Yeah. So ran for this is part two. Part one came out in 72. Like I said, it was based on the actual, the comic written by he goes by Monkey Punch. That's like
Yeah.
his pen name. It's Kazuhiro Kato, but he goes by Monkey Punch. It was serialized in the Weekly Manga Action magazine between 67 72. They made part one.
Yeah.
Then there was like a live action movie. Interest was kind of renewed. I've
Yeah.
never seen the live action movie, but I saw pictures of it and I was like, ooh, that
I've
I,
seen parts. It doesn't look promising. Though
yeah,
there are some Lupin fans that will give it some defense and be like, it kind of has the spirit of Lupin. It's a little slapstick.
yeah.
There's definitely some violence, but I don't know. I haven't been compelled enough to watch it all
I'm
the way.
surprised when like Ocean's 11 was huge, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, that they
Yeah.
didn't, everybody was into heists. We got the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair. There was all sorts of, it was just like heists were big. Why
Yeah.
didn't they try to cash in on this? That seems like that would have been a slam dunk.
I don't think they ever found the correct marketing like push to set it in. I mean, yeah, they've tried to make Lupin a big thing in America a few times. COVID completely knocked out its chances during the Lupin III, the first release movie. Like
Mm,
that was about 2001 or maybe that was 2002, but no, no. But yeah, back in 2021
right.
when COVID hit, like I remember trying to go to see it with my buddy and then finding out like a day before they just decided to cancel everything. Like
Yeah.
it got caught up in that sweep. But that movie is awesome. I'm going to be covering that movie with Jess Matthews of the Fox Kids Club. It's going to
Nice.
be a huge thing for us this summer when we get around.
Right on, man. Right on. So the premise of the whole thing is that Lupin is the grandson of Arsène Lupin, the gentleman thief of Maurice Leblanc's novels.
Yeah,
And he is kind of trying to follow in his grandfather's footsteps. His dad was also a thief, and it's like the family business.
yeah,
And it's a
yeah,
little bit of James Bond sometimes because he does use gadgets, as we'll see in the second episode that we're going to be talking about. But like, there's also just some of it is skill, some of it is his luck, and some of it is just cool planning and his help, some of his friends. Apparently, especially in the manga, he was more of a lone wolf, but they kind of built a team around him this time,
yeah.
for this anime. And I really enjoyed it. I like him, I like his friends. As I mentioned, there's four seasons. So I'm just getting some of the technical stuff out of the way. There were four
Uh,
seasons. It aired on Nippon TV from October 3rd, 77 through October 6th, 1980. And it was produced by Tokyo Movie Shinsha, which we talked about just a couple of weeks
yeah.
ago on The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. They were responsible for that, which was
Oh
animated
man.
beautifully.
Oh
So
God. Okay, I gotta see that. I'm a big TMS like acolyte. It's just
it was a whole
beautiful stuff.
series. It's like, I don't know if you remember Brave Star from 1987. This was a
I
year before.
barely know it.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So this was a year before. It's about a whole like team of space cowboys that go,
Okay.
you know. Anyway, it's really cool, animated,
Okay.
really nice. So you talked about Tony Oliver. Tony
Yeah.
Oliver is the voice of Lupin. Most people might remember him as the voice of Rick Hunter from Robotech.
What's this? She made a Christmas dinner. And cake, too. Looks great.
Oh Christ, that's him.
That's
Okay.
it. Right?
I'm not the biggest Robotech fan, but I respect the hell out of it. But I didn't
Yeah.
realize that connection at all until now. Thank you. That absolutely
Yeah.
gave me such an incredible dopamine trip. You don't even know. That was awesome. Thank you, Jerry.
I like Robotech. I remember the toys. I remember seeing the toys in
Yeah.
stores when I was little. But yeah, Robotech was cool. I remember at the time thinking that it was Voltron. And because I was like
Oh, okay.
5 years old or something, and then it's like, wait, that looks like Keith. Is that no, it wasn't Keith, it was Rick. But that's
I
Tony Oliver. What he's mostly known
yeah,
for is Lupin and this,
yeah.
and then some voices here and there. So
Oh yeah. I
yeah.
mean, he's a little bit of a legend in the anime community in
Anime,
some ways,
yeah.
Yeah, playing Lupin the Third, that's one of the baddest boys in anime you can, that's just a that's a statue.
That's that's right. It's
um,
like him and like Sean Schemmel or from Goku. But
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
Keith Silverstein is also great as Lupin. I like him a lot.
I got you.
Amazing.
I don't think I've heard his version yet.
He's part of the specials they did that are like the woman called Fujiko Mine specials. They did three
Gotcha.
TV specials that kind of branch off from that, even though they don't include the same director and writer. They include like her secondhand person, who is an amazing director on a visual level, but because they did that, there's a little bit more like male bias in those. They're a little
Oh,
horrier in the way I don't care for, but
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
beautiful looking things. But he's a amazing Lupin in those. Yeah, get it in. My God, this guy is in everything. Like this IMDb list is just a mile long. I'm down to 2021 now. This is crazy. I didn't realize. I wish I could work like that. Jesus. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's
he
getting
must,
paid pretty well.
I mean, he must just have the sauce or some shit. I don't know. I don't know how you get jobs like so continual.
Well, it's most of the cast here are like big in
Okay.
the anime world.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
They've done a few
he,
other things here and there, but it's mostly anime and video games, is what I noticed.
but yeah, Keith Silverstein, he's the voice for Lupin in the three specials that spun off from the woman called Fujiko Mine. And he's a little wryer. He's not like quite the monkey trickster that this Lupin we're talking about is. He can get a little more serious. No,
Yeah.
I'm not putting Tony Oliver down. I mean, in part five, which I'm going to be covering with the burn coming up, there are a few moments where Tony Oliver is so goddamn dangerous it'll make you piss your pants. Like it's awesome, dude. Tony Oliver rules too. Yeah,
So we get Jigen, who's kind of the gunman, I guess.
yeah.
So
Sharpshooter, good
sharpshooter,
sir.
that's a good one, yeah.
Very particular skill.
Voiced by Richard Epcar. I didn't really recognize. I mean, it was a lot of voices, like additional voices here or bit
Yeah.
parts in a lot of anime. The thing that I knew him most from was the voice of Raiden from MK11 video
Okay.
game from Mortal Kombat 11, and he also voiced the Joker in like some of the Injustice games.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
Interesting.
that's
Okay.
about all that I picked out. Everything else was like, oh, I know that movie. Oh, I know that movie, but I couldn't tell what character it was. I was like, I don't remember that character's name. So it's just a lot of bit parts and additional voices. But he's another one that's like, man, it's a good list here.
Richard Epcar is maybe my favorite Jigen. He just has that perfect mix of like gravel and
Hmm.
like just sarcasm. Like, man,
Yeah, that's right.
he's,
Yeah.
he's such a dick. Like,
He's pretty sassy for sure. Goemon is Lex Lang. And the thing that I recognized him for was he was a voice of Doctor Doom from Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon.
I am not some common criminal that can be distracted by your prattling. You are nothing to Doom, and your pathetic attempts to play mind games with me amount to exactly less than nothing. So please, stop embarrassing yourself.
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah.
I actually like that cartoon.
I do
something.
too. Yeah.
You know what? That thing has the best animation of any damn Fantastic Four cartoon out there
Agreed.
so far. Like it looks really good. It was done by the same studio that did Totally Spies. When I was a kid, I did not appreciate how good that looked for like an early 2000s digital 2D show. Like that studio did beautiful work. I don't know
It,
what the hell happened to them.
it
They're
was
not
really
around
nice.
anymore.
I liked it, but anyway, that's him. And then the only other one I want to, well, it's two more, but Fujiko was Michelle Ruff, who was
Uh,
Hiyori and Akira.
Oh, I didn't realize that at all. Okay. Fun.
Yeah. And then Zenigata was Dan Lorga. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I didn't recognize, again, mostly just additional voices here and there. Nothing like I couldn't pick out specifically which one he was. But they all do fantastic here. I enjoy their voices.
Oh man, they just hit every beat in the proper way. It feels cozy whenever I go through it. Yeah, Lupin the Third is a real cozy like TV show because it can just be like it can be kind of a buddy hangout show, like
Yeah.
when stakes aren't high, and I kind of like how buddy this like these two episodes we got are. The wine episode is basically Lupin trying to impress Fujiko like the whole time. That's all it is about.
And then the other episode is she's spending all his money.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah.
It's the craziest thing. So let's go ahead and get into these. We're going to talk about season 1, episode 12 first. That's
Okay.
the English the English dub is The Slight Before Christmas is what they call it. In Japanese, it was also called A Gift for the President or A Present for the President.
Ah,
So it's the same. Aired December 19th, 1977. And let's just dive into this. This one it was fun, but it was definitely, you could definitely tell it was 70s. There was something about it that I was like, wow, this is straight up 70s anime here.
like this thing reminds me of like a 70s art film in a certain way. Like
Right,
like the settings of it, you know, it feels like an independent like foreign film that would have been put together on the cheap in a certain way.
right.
Uh you know, Monkey Punch is a very primal like guy with what he wants to do with his characters, but I think he is smarter in design and you know ideals for settings than some people give him.
hmm Well, and so in this, Lupin wears a red jacket. So I think in the first one it was more greenish, like a seafoam green, and then it was like pink, I
Yep.
think, in the third, if I
Part
recall.
three.
Part
Yep.
three, yeah. So yeah, this one's red, and it turns out we're told right away the last remaining bottle of Bordeaux that Napoleon commissioned to give to his wife is going to be given to the President of the United States on Christmas Eve as a gift from the country of France. They're watching this on TV, and Lupin's like, Fujiko first admits that, hey, isn't that so romantic that he got this whole bottle of wine for her? And Lupin's like,
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm no emperor, but I could get you that very bottle.
Yeah.
just straight up trying to impress her right away.
Pure confidence. To
hmm
say. He says he isn't even that drunk, which I beg to differ probably. That might be strong stuff. I think he's talking with a little bit of the sauce in his head.
Could be. There is a running gag because I like how Goemon talks about how wine's not as good as sake. And he has like this big old bottle of sake, and there's a running
Yeah.
gag about how they all think it tastes like gym socks.
It's a harsh drink, kind of. I mean, I'm not like a big drinker, but I've had sake one time, and I remember the burn of it. Like, just, ooh, strong.
Well, apparently they all don't like the taste, so
Yeah.
yeah. So in Paris, because that's the main setting here, you're right. There is something very like exotic and faraway places about this, and so we're in France for most of this, and so Zenigata gets a letter from Lupin cluing him in on the heist, and he purposely sends this to him, as we found out, so that Zenigata, who's of course the sleuth that's always after him from Interpol,
Yeah.
he purposely sends this to him so that he'll lead him to where the bottle is being kept.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a very like simple Lupin setup. Lupin and Zenigata are basically Tom and Jerry.
That's
Except
perfect.
except
Yeah.
they get to talk and have like a little more dimension between them. Like, and look, okay, I know Tom and Jerry talked in that movie. We don't talk about that movie, okay?
No, they can't speak. Yeah.
It doesn't even look like bad on an animation level, but no, you shouldn't have had a whole movie with them talking, just saying that stuff. Like that's not how those characters work.
No, no, for real. So like it's very he's Zenigata's almost like Inspector Clouseau, right? From the Pink Panther
Yeah,
series. He's a little bit bumbling. He's got a lot of confidence though. He knows he can get it, but he never he just can't pull it off.
and he represents like equal opposite to Lupin. He is invested in the law and taking down this tyrant who really isn't doing anything but like playing thief games with ultra rich people. Sometimes he like uses that to like help the poor or like help a country or something like that. But
Right.
generally, he's just doing it for like a bit of a challenge, and that's that's part of what makes the friction with the relationship so fun because Zenigata puts in so much time trying to get
Totally.
Lupin when he's just screwing around messing with people. Like
Well,
it's so funny.
later on, Zenigata even says something because the chief of police invites him to spend Christmas with him. He's like, "No, like
Yeah.
there is no Christmas for for Zenigata and Interpol." Like, he's like, "No, I'm gonna go stake out this place. What do you mean you're not gonna send your men?" But yeah, it's like they're, of course, he's the one chasing him. It's like a game of cat and mouse.
What? A letter? Huh? Nice. I wonder if it's from Mother. Lupin! Hey, Pups, you know that famous
Bottle
bottle
of wine that's going to Washington for the president? Well, it's not. Catch you later, Lupin. P.S. Don't you ever take that coat off?
that no good. He's just taunting me!
And I do like there's another running gag in there. The French like chief of police that he's working with always calls him by a different name in this episode as well. So he's called like
Oh.
Inspector Origami. He's called Inspector Terracotta, Inspector Pennsylvania. I mean, it's it's pretty fun.
Yeah, those gags are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad origami wasn't something meaner. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yeah,
that's just like simple enough. It doesn't feel mean while poking at a nationality a little bit.
right. You could tell it could have been a lot worse,
Oh yeah,
and they
yeah.
backed it off. Yeah, for sure.
There's some controversy about these English dubs for part two because they have some like kind of like weird dumb jokes shoved in there, like some more Western pop culture references that aren't actually in the original
Oh yeah, we'll be
Japanese.
talking about. I think we might be talking about a couple of those here or there.
Yeah, yeah.
So their big plan is that the team is going to hide in these barrels, and Lupin, who's also like a master of disguise, is going to dress as like this wine delivery guy,
Yeah.
and he's going to sneak him in. And so he puts him in the barrels. Of course, we get a little gag about how he's trying to creep on Fujiko.
Fujiko. Yeah. I think maybe in the 70s we considered this behavior like rascally, like
Yeah,
flirtatious in a
it's
fun way. I
it's
think now
totally
we've kind of
inappropriate now. Yeah, but
I think now we've kind of turned around on this idea. Like this isn't as fun or charming as it seemed probably back then. I think that's a big slight with Lupin. It's a slight with a lot of anime, to be fair. But I also think Lupin is such a high quality program. Sometimes I wish it was just like a little less horny. Like I wish it was a little. Yeah, sometimes I
it's
just wish it were a little more like it had higher aspirations because when it
yeah.
does, it can really like do things. Like,
Well, it's I mean Master Roshi from Dragon Ball also is pretty
oh yeah.
he's a
Oh
horny
yeah.
dog.
I mean, is
So
he even part of Dragon Ball anymore? Like I don't know how
kind
Super
of
functions anymore. I tried
yeah.
watching Super, but there is some incredibly bad like Bulma being old humor.
That's right. There was
Bulma is a goddess. You animation creators. It's not good for Goku either because it makes him look mean when he's constantly pointing
he's
out
just
how old she is.
he's just clueless.
Yeah,
Uh
but he's not mean. Like he shouldn't be mean. Like, yeah,
well, so speaking of old, so Lupin is this old man in his
yeah.
costume, right? And so he's driving this truck with the wine barrels. He pulls up by the car that has the French chief of police and Zenigata, and he's like doing this crazy local, well, the chief of police is like, oh, it's just a local custom, but he's like doing all this weird dance movement things to like say hi. I don't know what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
wonder. I wonder also if maybe that's something that like gets a little lost in translation the way they
yeah,
did it. I was
that's my
yeah,
thought. I think it could have been like a whole other thing. They're like, how do we make this work? Let's just say
yeah,
it's like a local custom. He's just saying hi or something. So,
yeah. I thought maybe that was one of the gags that felt a little harder to just take like as a funny thing. Like
right.
it seemed a little forced.
So they lead him to the chateau. He gets some of the police to help him unload these crates. They take him, or barrels, excuse me. They take him down to the wine cellar, and
Yeah.
the guards he gets the guards to pretty much leave him alone. So he immediately starts getting the guys out, and that's when he's sprung, like the Zenigata sprung a
Yeah.
trap on him. He's like.
Yep.
Like I knew you were going to do something like this, and now you're hoist on your own, whatever you call it.
Hoisted on your own petard.
Ha! Fooled you this time! It's not even here, Lupin!
What? Damn it, what do you mean?
I knew you were setting me up, Lupin. You had no idea where the bottle was. But I turned the tables on you, Lupin. I had him take me to the wrong place, and now you're hoist on your own, whatever you call it.
Petard. It's called a damn petard.
And then, yeah, so I like how Lupin corrects him, like, it's petard, man. Come on.
Yeah, you forgot to mention the bit where like they thought they evaded the testers because they were holding bottles
Right.
of wine. So every time they put a little like a turkey baster in, it looks like they put it in, and so they get the bottle of wine, the wine in the bottle of wine out into the turkey baster, and they think it's just a bottle, a big barrel of wine.
Right, right. So, yeah, Zenigata, before they go in, Zenigata's like, prove to me that's wine. How do I know there's really wine in
Yeah.
there? So he takes the cork out on the side and puts like that little, yeah, syringe or whatever it is, a dropper all thing, and he grabs some of that out. And so they're like,
I-
okay. So they take him and then, spring their trap on them. But
Very sorry for the word salad a second there. Go there, people. Thank you for tolerating.
no, that's okay. But Goemon, because he's their like resident samurai,
Yeah.
takes out his sword and starts like slicing the barrels open, and everybody just starts
Yeah.
sliding in wine because it's so slippery.
Yeah, it's actually a really ambitious bit of animation for a TV episode at this
Yeah.
budget, I would say, for the 70s. There's, one slight complaint. Zenigata is just slightly stiff. Like, when he's about to fall into the wine, he's worried about falling into it. But I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, it still all looks pretty good in the uniform. The movements aren't necessarily bad. Like,
Yeah, you can tell where some things maybe they didn't have as many animation frames
yeah.
or they cut some things, something like that. But they are able to get away because as like everybody's kind of falling and slipping
Oh,
and
yeah.
sliding, they climb onto the stairs and Lupin threatens to like light them on
Leave-
fire, like light the
Yeah,
wine.
he pulls out a Bic lighter. I like the detail of it being a Bic lighter. It looks good.
But it's funny
And,
because wine doesn't really like catch fire like that, like a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
other alcohols.
I didn't
So
know that.
yeah, you can burn it off easily enough, and
Cool.
it's so. I mean, I wouldn't like go douse yourself in wine and then like light yourself
Yeah.
on fire. I would definitely
No,
don't
no.
do that. But
No. You've already given me the idea. I'm so impressionable, Jerry.
no,
God damn, I need to do that right now.
no, we don't
Sit tight,
endorse that
everybody.
here at Totally Rad Christmas. Please do not do that. But they get away by threatening to light them on fire.
Hungry, Pops? Because a touch of flame's all we need to make a flatfoot flambe.
No, Lupin, please don't do it!
Okay, but do me a favor and just marinate a little longer. Thanks, buddy. So long, see ya.
And I like how they point out he's a little drunk because he's driving erratically.
Oh yeah, like just all over the road, and he acts like I'm doing this on
I'm
purpose.
fine, yeah.
Let me tell you, I've had a couple of situations in my life where I was right not to trust that person because they were driving exactly like Lupin.
So Zenigata is gonna personally escort the bottle of wine to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
He's going to go with their team to escort it. So they're at the airport, Lupin and his team scoping everything out. And, they're like, wow, that's security's super tight. And they make a nice little joke about your tax dollars at work, which I liked.
Yeah.
They're loading like a huge, just unmarked crate into the plane. And so they're like, huh, that crate, interesting. They mark that crate because they're not sure, if the wine's in there or just whatever else is. It's probably more present for the president.
Yeah.
So, and this is where Fujiko decides she's going to disguise herself as like a flight attendant. And she gets the skinny from like an airport worker. And then they board the plane in disguises. So Jigen's like the co-pilot. She's the flight attendant. We get Lupin as some dude. I don't know what he was supposed to be, but
Yeah, I wasn't for sure about that. There's also a couple of jokes with Zenigata. He says something. It's an old hat joke. They say bonjour as they're going into the plane, and he says Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That gag just broke me. I hated that gag. Yeah.
Well, that's how you can tell that that this is definitely later, than the 70s. This American dub, because Bon Jovi hadn't been around.
Oh yeah.
Bonjour.
Ah, yes, Bon Jovi.
Also,
he also ogles
Oh.
Fujiko as well.
Yeah. That's another thing I wanted to bring up. Zenigata is an equal opposite in that he is very like susceptible to a woman's charms, but he always likes to like pretend like he isn't, no matter what. Like he's too embarrassed to own up to his attraction. So there's a lot of awkward comedy with him throughout the series.
Well, this time, he was like flirting with her, and she even says something like, "Oh, he was flirting with me."
Yeah.
So I did write this down. This line here, the pilot says it to Jigen, because Jigen's as a co-pilot. He says,
Makes you feel a little like Santa Claus flying this kind of mission,
Thank goodness for Zenigata. If it wasn't for him, that Lupin would be playing Grinch this Christmas.
You can say that again, mon ami.
And so I thought that was fun. Anyway, so they flood the cabin with like this knockout gas or sleeping gas or something.
Yeah.
It gets them all out, and Goemon, by the way, is driving a truck, which they spot on their approach. They take the bottle of wine. They replace it with another bottle with the note, because Lupin always leaves a note. When they wake up, they realize, first of all, they're not in D.C., and he finds a bottle of wine, Zenigata, and it has the note on it, and he's just, he got snookered again.
It's funny stuff. It really is. I had a good time, with that bit. Like, him waking up, he does like a very particular yell that I don't often hear Zenigata do, and it got a big laugh out of me. So that's a little nugget of individuality within these kind of cookie cutter episodes as well.
Right on. I didn't know that. But so then, they just, that bottle of Bordeaux that they replace it with, just this cheap bottle, or I think they call it crap, if I recall, the crappy stuff, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they end up giving it to the president anyway. And I like how they drink it and they're like, oh, that's pretty good. And Lupin toasts with the real stuff, and it's like ridiculously bad.
Well, boys, shall we toast our success with a genuine article?
I'd say it has a distinctive bouquet.
Do I detect a hint of citrus?
Well, it's been 200 years in the making. I say we just take our sweet time and savor it slowly. Here's to us. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
What in the hell is that?
It's called 200-year-old vinegar.
And a colossal waste of time and energy.
It would appear that the joke is on us.
So, is this like one of those gift of the Magi things? Because I hate that story.
But then
Yeah.
they find out that the crate that they stole was full of dolls that were intended for like underprivileged children.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part.
They return them with they drop them out of the sky with little parachutes, and that's kind of how it ends. So,
Yeah, it's actually a sweet ending. That's good for Lupin.
well, yeah, he is. You're right. He has like a sense of honor in these that we don't always see. So that's the first one. Next, we're going to talk about season 3. It's episode 64. It's called Christmas at Tiffany's. It's also translation could be translated as Christmas in the Goddess's Hands, but
Yeah.
Christmas in Tiffany's is what it is. It aired December 25th, 1978. How did you feel about this one overall?
I think I like this better than the wine one in
I
a
think so
certain
too.
way. But I
Yeah.
think it has like a little more drive to it. It doesn't feel like quite as jokey, but I mean, you're still getting jokes in there. I also, I don't know, it's another happy ending too. Sometimes I like the ending should be just a little more chaotic to a Lupin caper. Yeah, this is
Right.
a tidy ending. It just ends with everybody just like toasting, wishing a Merry Christmas, and you
Mary, right?
see the Statue of Liberty. I'm getting very ahead of ourselves, but you see the Statue of Liberty with Christmas ornaments on there, and yeah, I don't know. How did you like that touch? Like as far
I
as
thought
a
it was fun.
Christmas touch? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I thought it was pretty great. So it starts off with the team or Lupin and Fujiko. They're like in front of Tiffany's store. And,
Yeah,
they're like, huh, so this is the famous Tiffany's.
yeah,
Like, it's kind of run down and shabby.
sure.
But they see all the high-tech security, and the owner, Marguerite Tiffany, who says call her Maggie, invites them in, gives them a tour, and tells them that
Yep,
look, it's never been broken into, but I want you to break in, and we're gonna film it on my TV show that I have. Because
yeah,
I'm also like I have a news show, and the ratings will be through the roof.
yeah. She has a whole briefcase full of money.
A whole briefcase full of cash, a blank check
Yeah,
that we find
and
out later on.
here's a very particular horny Lupin joke too, because she has quite the exposed bosom when she's presenting the cash,
That's true.
and
That's
yeah,
true.
and like Fujiko is eyeing the jewel she has around her neck,
Because
and
it's a big old jewel. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, and Fujiko is commenting on it while Lupin is leering, and Lupin is just kind of agreeing with her, to kind of keep the momentum of his leering going before she pulls on his ear with like a very cartoony pull on his ear. Like, I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. And there's a very, there's a funny way he announced that. Yeah, he says like,
Yeah, sure, the bounty she's displaying. Honest, what kind of boob do you think I am?
What kind of boob do you take?
What kind
me
of
for?" Like,
boob? That's right.
there's like, and the bounty she's displaying, like that's obviously a thing, like a rack reference. Like
Right.
it's, I mean, I think Lupin, like for Lupin the Third, boob humor is easy, but they still occasionally do a good job on it. I don't know. I'm conflicted about
Yeah.
like sex humor sometimes, but I also recognize the comedic like setup of it, how well it's set.
Well, it's funny because she gets like I guess she's kind of told this story because the reporters go crash their like their place that they're staying at, this
Yeah,
rundown hotel that was supposed to be like the best. Jigen
yeah,
recommended it, but it was like totally terrible. And they're just like, "Hey, what are you going to do about this broadcast? Are you really going to steal it?" And
yeah,
anyway, so Maggie like invites them. She's like, "Look, you guys deserve to be at the best hotel." She gets them the suite. It's amazing. She's like, "Here's a suitcase of $100,000 and here's a blank check. Like, if you steal all of the inventory, you can write whatever amount you want on this
yeah.
check." Like she's trying to entice them because she really, really wants them. She wants the publicity. She wants the ratings.
Oh,
And
Lupin tore up the first check. He wasn't
yeah,
going to do it.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
like, whatever.
love that confidence. I couldn't imagine doing that. I mean,
Well,
I would have been
for real.
groveling at Maggie's feet for whatever like money she was willing to give me too.
For real. But like the whole thing was like, this is Christmas time. We just want to enjoy Christmas and
Yeah,
we're going to go fishing. Like we're on vacation. We don't want to heist anything. And so he tears it up, which you're right. That's like took some big cojones, but they like take off And I like how it's just Maggie and Fujiko, and she's like, "Oh, I like staying here." And Maggie like kind of disses her a little bit. She's like, "Well, you
Oh,
should be careful
okay.
because people might mistake you for a hooker here."
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Long as I'm here, I guess I might as well stay a while.
I'm not sure that's such a great idea.
Oh, and why not?
Wouldn't everyone mistake you for a hooker?
Well,
It's been a pleasure.
And Fujiko even like kind of throws it back into her. Like she says some line about how she wouldn't want people to think she's a cheap slut or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have prefaced that. Maybe I should have prefaced that with a slight warning in case anyone is a little triggered by the SLUT word. But that's the
okay.
blunt, like delivery of it.
You know
I
what?
promise I'm not trying to be disgusting.
It's an 80s podcast. It's okay. They've heard worse. So Zenigata apparently was kind of in on it with Maggie. He's super upset
Yeah.
that they said no, but
Yeah.
Fujiko ends up going to the store and like trying to get help from Maggie, but she ends up writing a huge check because she wants this particular piece of jewelry and she wants to make it look like she's big stuff, and it's like $100,000 just excuse me.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
$100,000 just for that. Anyway, meanwhile, Jigen and Lupin are like sport fishing, trying to catch like a swordfish. And they're battling this fish when the old man, the boat captain, and they say his name, but I couldn't quite make it out. The old man, anyway,
Yeah.
boat captain, turns out he's like an inventor that invents all this stuff that just never could make a dime on it because no one really believed in it. But he created a lightsaber, and he created this like ray gun, which would shoot like almost like a lightsaber, except it would like capture people and like disorient them. So they try it on the swordfish and it doesn't work.
This is Bond like. This is where we
Yeah.
get a little. He's not exactly a Q, but hey, I make all these cool things. You want to play around with them? Well, I don't know who you are or whatever you do, but like, it's funny.
It is odd. And I was like, wow, a boat captain invented a lightsaber. Like, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, I think up ideas all the time. The name's Jebopee. You probably know some of my stuff. Yeah, for instance, this little lightsaber thingamajig works too. Look. It's a shame. Never did get a patent for this thingamabob, and that's why I'm still so poor. It's how it goes, I guess. Yep. Now just sit back and marvel at the amazing power of the Jebopee lightsaber sports fisherman.
So, anyway, meanwhile, Fujiko is like spending money like crazy on fur coats and all sorts
Yeah.
of things. I mean, it's like she's just spending all of their money.
Shut up and take my money.
She writes to Lupin, hey, come back, we're out of money. And he thinks like, well, it's just that fancy hotel we're staying at. Man, they're taking all my money.
Right.
Because apparently the bank called and they need like $1 million by the next day. It's like, wow. All right.
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't imagine. Oh man.
Yeah. So it turns out she got the check from Maggie again.
Yeah.
And they go to Tiffany's. Zenigata's there. But in the spirit of fair play, he kind of shows them around, because.
Yeah.
And it's like they have until like when St. Patrick's Cathedral rings its bells at midnight, then, all right, now you can do the thing. So all that is kind of pertinent information. But I like how in the spirit of fair play, he gives them the glasses so they can see like the whole laser grid set up on the alarm. Yeah. It's like super crazy. And of course, Fujiko has bought a Rolls Royce and she drives off with that. But we're going to see that Rolls Royce again a little bit later. As he's like trying to follow her while she's driving away in the Rolls, he notices a girl that's like Marilyn Monroeing it, like she's walking over the subway grate and the air blows up and kind of gets her skirt up. And that gives him an idea. They're going to use the subways. And so he builds like this whole pulley system, which is bananas. This is where it gets a little wacky races.
Look, I know sometimes maybe my audience hates that I complain about how much how horny Lupin is at times. I'm sorry, sometimes he's just a little gross, but I do think he has like a very aggressive sexual id that plays into his intelligence when you do him right, and I think that's good and has character. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he got the idea from kind of
Yeah.
leering at that girl, like you said. So again, Zenigata can't like get this police chief to mobilize any
Yeah.
units at all. So he's like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna go stake it out. And they're at the hotel. The boat captain's like with them, and he's built a brand new gun. He's like, here, take this. It's that laser lasso or whatever you want to call it gun. Stun gun, I get laser lasso stun
It,
gun, I
it
guess. I
looks
don't know.
cool as hell
I
in the animation. Like, man.
that's the way to fish, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So St. Patrick's ring, the bell rings, and so Goemon's like lowered via crane, and he like just starts slicing the building up. And you're like,
Oh,
what is going on? But apparently, what he's doing is literally slicing through brick and concrete
yeah.
and steel and everything. And he's just, I don't know how this dude must be like super strong or whatever,
It's a
but
Zentetsuken. It's a legendary sword for a reason.
I guess so.
He can do anything with that thing. It's a
for,
miracle.
for real. So that pulley system that they installed underground was a whole contraption so that as a train goes by, it immediately starts pulling on this cord, and the cord they actually attached to the building. And so the train, in essence, pulled the building off of its foundations and like
Yeah.
just yanked it up, totally screwing up all of the security, including the laser grid and everything. And so on the a roof next door, they literally just grab these guns that this boat captain made and they just start taking things with like these laser light lassos.
Like shooting fish in a barrel, but they're not fish, so go ahead and fire at will. Now these would add a very festive touch to anybody's Christmas tree.
Yeah, and also just the animation of getting a building halved and then moved across. Like
Moved, yeah.
they made that look pretty decent for a TV anime from the 70s. Like I think they had a decent batting average with all the line work and everything for that.
I agree. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
totally agree. It looked pretty good for their budget, for sure.
Yeah.
So finally Zenigata is like, what's going on? And he realizes it's them. And so they just use the stun gun on him. And
Yep.
they lasso him, but it incapacitates him, and so he's out. And they steal everything in Tiffany's. Maggie arrives to find the jewelry gone, and of course there's a note from Lupin. And Zenigata kind of runs out. The note says,
Merry Christmas. The jewels are in the hand of the Goddess of Liberty, Lupin III.
Does he mean the statue?
she even says, does he mean statue? Sure enough, they're there on the torch of the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. I like it. It's a cozy ending for me on the second level. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just flying away in their plane and toasting to Christmas. So
Yeah, it's just a feel good episode of Lupin.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Lupin fan, it fits right in the pocket for you.
Yeah. So I do have a question. If you could be a character in, one of these episodes, who would you be?
Oh, I'd so be Jigen. Like, you got the right amount of stuff to do the whole time.
Yeah.
You're waiting on your boss, when you need to, and you're kind of, I don't know, you're kind of just free most of that other time. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of, and also I think with my beard, like that's where I belong right there.
He does have that very pointed, curved kind of beard. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, it feels good there. Yeah. I think he does have a little bit of like late 60s bohemian to him. Like, I think he does have longer hair in some of the other ones. Like, it's a little more noticeable. Yeah.
Well, especially with the sunglasses, he almost has like a slight beatnik vibe, right? As well. So,
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Goemon also just gets to like slice and dice, so it'd be fun to be him. Oh, there's a fun Goemon moment you didn't catch. Okay. When Lupin is leering at Fujiko while she's trying to get into the barrel, Lupin even points out that Goemon can't help himself but to
Yeah,
look at her.
I do.
And
That's right. That's
he
right.
has a
He does say
sheepish
that.
little whine. And it's really funny when Goemon is actually like slightly turned on because he is such a like shy boy in so many other things.
So what would you say is your happiest like memory or moment with Lupin? And it can be about these Christmas episodes in
Okay.
particular, or the series in general.
Well, I mean, I've covered a lot of Lupin, all right, and I was trying to pin down a moment, but I think maybe just being able to cover Lupin with so many different people and like
Mm,
getting, finding out that even with like the problematic elements of Lupin, everybody just thinks it's a really well done action show,
right.
and it's like a community gathering thing almost. Like everybody just has this little touch point that has so many ways it can be interpreted. I mean, I think Lupin has kind of transcended over the decades into becoming this big pool of different genre influences that you can mix and match to create unique magic out of the spare parts of yesteryear. The samurai, the gunman, the thief. These are iconic, like timeless characters that can be put into new scenarios. And even in the modern day, we can still give Lupin some 70s flavoring with his outfits, and it doesn't feel out of place. That's just the character.
Hmm.
He can exist, and you can give him the proper like challenges in the modern day to make him feel like he fits in there. Like that's part of what part four and part five are doing. They're making Lupin modern while still retaining his essence, his like gentleman thief charm of the
Right.
70s and 80s. I don't know. I think it's a beautiful series when it's not too gratuitous.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, for me, my history is not super long with it. So I'm probably going to go with the moment, I think.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
I think in this case, it's got to be when they're dropping the toys from the sky, like cuz he says
Yeah,
like, "Hey, look, even bad guys make mistakes but we own up to our mistakes." And he just drops them off and you're like, "Wow, what a stand-up guy." And it goes back to what you were talking about with his code of honor that he kind of has, He doesn't
yeah.
mind stealing and hurting or whatever, but also at the same time, like there's some things he just won't do. And so I really enjoy that. But now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is a little segment I call Gag Me with the Spoon, where we do our best impression of our least favorite part of these episodes. Now, as a guest, I'll let you go first. Just kind of set up the scene for us a little bit.
Oh, I mean, I think I might have already mentioned it earlier, but the Bon Jovi gag where they're in disguise and getting
That's,
on the plane.
that's right.
God, I that was like the one thing in both of these episodes where I was like, no, don't do that. Like, not only does it not like represent a 70s reference in a 70s show, it is a joke that has been played out so many times in so many things. It feels like it feels like a writer came into work today and just said, shove it in there, no one will care. Like it feels like so careless and dumb.
Right.
It really frustrated me, but I guess that's really the only bad part. Like the only really egregious part. There are a few moments where, like, when they do like just like stills of people talking, where the
Hmm.
stills like look a little unsymmetrical, like they
Yeah. Yeah, I know what
don't
you
look
mean. I
like
did
the
notice that. Yeah.
quality they should in
Yeah.
certain other scenes. Yeah, but that's pretty small pickings for a 70s anime.
So I went with this line from Jigen. So this is where they're like, surely you don't expect to, they tell him something and he's like,
The
and
airplane joke,
and
yes.
another thing, man, don't call me Shirley. I was like, what? Like, how? You can't
Yeah.
do that in 1978. I mean, I know it's from, it wasn't
Oh yeah.
until like 2002 or whatever
But
that, but
you can't be
still.
doing that in a dub from 2005.
And there was another one I thought of. I almost picked this one. This was like my second choice in case you would pick that, but
Okay.
Another Jigen line. It's after Lupin's talking about how the wine cellar allows wine to age without spoiling, like the dark and the cool.
Yeah.
And he says, "Ah, so this must be the place where Dick Clark lives." I was like, Dick Clark jokes.
I mean,
That's also from like the 90s and
well,
later
no,
on.
Dick Clark is a 70s TV personality.
No,
so
I know he was American
okay,
Bandstand, but
yeah,
like the
okay.
jokes about him never aging weren't till,
Oh yeah,
later on.
okay,
So
yeah. So that makes sense. Yeah, I
it's
see what
like,
you're saying there.
like,
Yeah.
oh man, guys, come on.
I'm also I've realized I also confuse him with Dick Cavett.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
which man, that guy, like, no history doesn't remember that guy. No one cares about Dick Cavett. I don't even think he's the worst guy ever or anything. But damn, like you couldn't pull a Dick Cavett reference out anywhere nowadays.
I think most people would probably just look at you with blank stares. But G.I. Joe taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you think the other half is?
The other half is impressing hot girls. I mean, that's probably the other half of just Lupin as a series. And
That's
you know what? If I had the skills to do it, I would be too. I'm not looking down on it. Okay.
well, on that note, related to it, I thought if no one's half the battle, the other half was just don't go after girls with expensive taste.
Yeah, that's another, like, I think that's another layer to the Fujiko Lupin thing. It's like Fujiko is an expensive person to like support on a lot of levels.
She's high maintenance, man. Robbie, this has been a lot of fun. Tell me about your shows or anything else you want to plug.
Thank you for having me on, Jerry. It's always a pleasure being on Totally Rad Christmas. I've been putting some stuff off because, frankly, I've just been overworked, and it's been a terrible time in our country for many, many, many reasons that I can't go into here. But suffice to say, I got my next episode with Mike Albertin of Games My Mom Found on the Batman the Animated Series episode Pretty Poison. And that's going to be the pre-game episode before we start putting out Cape Crusader episodes. I got Lupin III Part 5 episodes recorded with the Vern of Cinema Recall. And we had a grand old time going through all that. We basically went through a mini movie of Lupin with those 5 episodes we did, and those will be released episode by episode. And on July 4th, I'll be releasing an album and a single with my friend Jake, and the album will be Mass Kinetic, it'll be an EP, and the single will be Cybercar, and the B-side for that will be Where's My Money At?
Right on, man. Right on. Well, thanks again for coming on. This was fun.
Yeah, hey, always a pleasure, friend. Yeah.
And I will end it with, hey, this giving thing feels pretty good. So check us out on our social media pages, which you can find at linktree.com/totallyradchristmas. And if you're feeling like Lupin getting away with the entire merchandise of Tiffany's, leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us reach more people and spread some rad holiday cheer. Now, don't forget to check out our merch shop on tpublic.com and our super dope website, totallyradchristmas.com. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good heist. Later, dudes.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas.